Alright, you lot, Fat Crim Plays here. Welcome back, finally, to my Ayrton Senna Driver Career. I've said it like 3 episodes in a row, but it has been a while. It's actually been about 10 days since I last posted an episode of this. To update you on what's going on, we are currently first in the standings by some distance. 11 points after 3 races. It's about as good as you could get, really. 2 wins out of 3, both fastest laps as well. And as you can see today, we have round numero 4 at none other than Monaco. Now, of course, Monaco has a massive opportunity to be an absolute snooze fest. I believe last time we were here at this series in Season 1, I out-qualified everyone by 0.6 of a second and then went on to win. I'm hoping to make it a bit more competitive than that. So without further ado, let's get to QUALI and put on a show at arguably Senna's best track. What was it? 6 poles, 5 poles, and like 8 wins or something ridiculous like that? Anyway, let's go. Alright, so here we are in qualifying. We have our first benchmark lap times. Ooh, okay, that is very competitive. A 1:8.4 for Max Verstappen. That's very, very fast. Now, I say this excuse in almost every episode, but once again, I've not touched this game, well, this car at least, this career mode, since my last video 10 days ago. So, to come back at the hardest track on the calendar probably wasn't the best idea, but here we are. So as always, we're going to aim for a top 5 now. Some might say that you should be targeting a P1 and that's it, because at the end of the day, you are fighting for a championship. But that's way too much pressure for myself, so I'm just going to go for a top 5, which at the moment is a 1:8.7. In fact, there are currently 6 cars with a 1:8.7. Yeesh. Okay, let's get out there for our first run. I'm actually a bit nervous, you know. It's been a very long time since I last drove around Monaco. I have no idea, really, what to expect. Let's just give it some and see what happens, you know. So remember, a 1:8.7, I believe it was, for a top 5, or actually more like a 1:8.6 if I wanted to secure it. Now the car, I don't know if it's just not playing in a while, but it feels a bit odd. It feels like I'm having to steer a lot more than I thought I would. Which isn't great at Monaco, because, you know, obviously one little slight mess up and you're in the wall and you're pretty much dead. I didn't even know what my Sector 1 time was. I don't even know if I'm anywhere near my targets at the moment. Good thing about Monaco, though, is you can use a lot of overtake because there's so much braking and basically no straights. So we can... Oh, that's going to be a bit tight. That was very, very poor from me. So Sector 2, I am actually going to find myself half a second down on Ocon, and there is something seriously wrong with my car right now. I told you something was seriously wrong. Like, look how much steering angle I have to put in to turn. It's almost as if the 50 downforce isn't actually doing anything at the moment, which is very, very concerning. I hate that a lot. That's a big issue. So at the end of my first run, I find myself, what, 1.5 seconds off the top 5, multiple temps behind 19th, because look at the steering angle I need to put in to turn. Like, look at that understeer. I've got my car turned 90 degrees left, and that isn't 90 degrees. That's insane. Yeesh, that's not good. Of course, in Monaco, qualifying's everything. There's a 95.5% chance you're going to finish where you start. So being P20 isn't fantastic. So looking at this here, the sector times, my Sector 1 is pretty poor, but it's about there, realistically. Apart from Norris's insane Sector 1 time, it's only about half a tenth away. It's Sector 2 where I'm struggling, and Sector 3. Sector 3 is actually the worst of it. I am currently in Sector 3, half a second down on even the likes of Piastri through there, even more than that. I'm a second away in Sector 3, so that's where I'm losing most of my time. Sector 2 is also very poor. There are a couple cars lingering in that area. I say a couple, it's mainly just Zhou Guanyu. So, Sector 1's okay, but 2 and 3, I need to find something, and I have no idea what was going wrong. That was a big, big issue. But as you can see at my setup here, I've got max downforce. I don't actually know what any of these things do. I just nicked them off the internet. I doubt they've got anything to do with it. But yeah, very odd. All I can do, though, is put on some brand new tyres, make sure the fuel's low, which I'm pretty sure it is. There it is. And go out for a second run and try and find something. But at the moment, it's not looking good. 7/10 off P19. And here we go, then. Let's have it. Let's try and make this as good as a lap as possible. And it has to be an absolute belter if I want any chance for top 5. That was a very nice run through turn 1. Already a 10th up. Use all that overtake, baby. Swinger into the fast left. Little bang with the wall, honestly. That's fine. That's really not fine. And I've crashed. Yeah, I can tell I'm going to be here for a long time today, aren't I? This episode is going to be about 3 hours long because I'm just crashing everywhere. And there is some... I've realised, by the way, I've crashed about 3 times since the last clip you saw. It's a bug with the game. I flashbacked to here, and suddenly my car felt okay. Like, I turned 90 degrees or whatever, and the car actually turned that direction, not have this incredible understeer. So I've realised it's just a bug with the game. That's why I've been complaining about, like, the car doesn't turn properly. It's just a bug. Which, knowing this game and the people who make it, a bug like this not being patched months after the game being out doesn't really surprise me. Now into the chicane I struggled with, and there you go. Now the car's actually feeling okay. I find myself 6/10 up. Swing it through there like I'm silly. Yeah, this actually feels like sort of normal now, to be honest. Like, how it should. I knew something was wrong, but not this wrong. Round the final corner. Oh, that was really bad. I'm just going to have to give it the beans. And there it is. Okay, sure. 1.7 seconds up. It puts me... This game, bro. This game is in tatters. Like, it's actually... So you're Mate, Diablos, I need a word with you, lad. Come here. Right, blood. Listen. So what's happened here, Diablos, right, is I've driven a lap as fast as I conceivably can, and I am 1.7 seconds off the lead, right? You're listening? Listen up. So what I do is I use a flashback, right? I then go P1 by 1/10 of a second, and I find 1.7 seconds of myself because of a bug with the game, which you can only find out if that bug exists by driving a lap. Isn't this game really good? I feel like a schizo. Yeah, that's insane. That's ridiculous. But it's a pole position, so I don't really care, to be honest. Whatever happened, whatever the circumstances, end of the story. I am on pole by 1/10 of a second over Sergio Perez. What a driver. Lance Stroll P3 as well. Crucially, not only is Lando Norris ahead of my championship rival, but I am way ahead of my championship rival, Max Verstappen. So we can head into Sunday. Hopefully the bug isn't there, and we can go for a good race. Right? Let's go. And here we are on the end of... What's Sunday in Spain? Domingo! We're on Domingo. Here in Monaco. And, yeah, I'm still just as confused as anyone about that qualifying session. Genuinely up there with the most puzzling I've ever seen, rivaling Monza 2020. Or was it 2019? I don't remember. Anyway, so the plan is very simple. Don't bottle the start. If I don't bottle the start and I'm P1 going into turn 1, I should just win. Do you know what I mean? So that's the aim. Let's go. Strategy's also just the same old, very basic. Mediums are hard. And without further ado, I think we're ready for a absolutely blockbuster race. That was sarcasm. It's going to be boring. I hope it's not, but let's be honest, it probably will be. Anyway, and here we go for the Monaco Grand Prix 2025. Let's go. We're off the line. It's not a bad start. Just avoid the wheel spin, and we are into turn 1. We are A-OK. Send them off, and we are away. Good start. Now, the interesting thing about Monaco is that I should be able to leave my hot lap ERS on throughout pretty much the entirety of the race. I think you can actually do that. Like I was saying, because of the lack of straights and the amount of braking points, you charge enough back. So, we'll give that a go. Whoa, big oversteer. I think I do have the bug again. I'll give it a while to find out if it's just the high fuel, though. And here we are at the end of lap 1, and I still can't tell if I got the bug. so I'll just stop talking about it. We have the fastest lap across the first run around here. DRS is enabled, but there's not even a point there being DRS, to be honest. It is that pointless. That's if they even had it, because I already have a 1.6 second lead over Lance Stroll, who is currently fighting Sergio Tequila Perez for the final podium place, and I can just chill now, to be honest. I'm not really under any threat unless I crash, of which I'll then use a flashback. So I should be chilling from here on out. I might just cut the video to the end when I win. Although now I've said that, watch everything go wrong, like a dodgy safety car, and I just won't win. There's lap number 2 complete, and it's another fastest lap for Ayrton Senna. A 1 minute 10.4 genuinely is quite fast. I mean, that's 2 seconds off quali. Bear in mind I'm on a harder compound of tyre and on high fuel. Oh, no, it's not too bad. Pace is looking good. I'm not too sure about the consistency. Not really. I've never been much of a consistent driver, and especially around here, the consistency isn't there, but I'm consistently, at least, extending my gap over Lance Stroll, and to be honest, that's all that really matters. Oh, this car is so difficult to drive. I've only got 4% tyre wear, but every single corner there is just these random snaps of oversteer mid-corner. Oh, it's actually just, it's hurting my wrist, you know, having to like turn so much. Some might be giving the advice of like, yeah, you don't need to drive like a complete maniac. You're in first by 2.5 seconds. You can relax a little bit. I say to that, sod off. I will drive as fast as conceivably possible, even if I'm winning by 3.5 nautical miles. You also realise that at some point, Monaco becomes a bit of an endurance race. I mean, 27 laps is a lot, especially compared to other race lengths. I mean, all the other races, it's between like 20 to 24 laps at like 1 minute, like 15 lap times. Here, we're in like, you know, 1 minute 10s, 1 minute 11s, and there's 27 laps. Like, it is quite a lot. I mean, the early stages, where you're trying to build gaps, plan strategies, thing like that, then yeah, it's you know, more of a sprint. You get to like lap 10 and you're thinking, right, I'm bored, I want this to end, just don't crash. But I am trying to drive a bit more clean now, rather than being a complete lunatic on the wheel. I'm now being a lot more preservative of my tyres, of my fuel, not really of my ERS because I've got so much of it, but just keeping it nice and clean, keeping that gap at about 3 seconds, because that's really the only buffer I need. There's no reason to push the tyres more and push the car more and risk crashing, of which I'll just flash back anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I'm chilling. Also, notice the gap between Stroll and Perez. In the space of, well, 5 laps, Stroll has got that gap to about 4 seconds. That's pretty insane, really. I know Perez is on the hard tyres, but that's still a hefty gap to overcome. Of course, Stroll done Perez off the line and not really looked back, so fair play to him. I don't know how Lando is getting on. I mean, he is, you know, he's P5. He's in a bit of a traffic jam right now. Of course, in Monaco, you can't overtake, so he's probably going to stay there. But P5, as long as he finishes ahead of Verstappen, that's a good day at the office. It seems even when driving quite conservatively, I'm still just absolutely rapid. I've now got that gap to Stroll out to 5 seconds, and yeah, I'm having a great time, to be honest. Also, just a quick disclaimer for those wondering, I am playing on 110 difficulty, so there's no reason to even think about commenting like, bro, the difficulty's too low, you shouldn't be winning this easily. I guess I'm just built different, to be honest. Although I will say, especially on this year's F1 game, the AI are very, very easy. Like, on F1 23, I used to run 104, 105 difficulty at my best tracks. This game, every track's 110, and obviously that's still a bit too easy, because I shouldn't be gapping Stroll by about a second a lap. And we have our first mid-race objective. I usually just ignore these at this point, but I need to like get some extra run time, so I might as well talk about it. I need to achieve a lap time of a 1 minute 14.6, and that's about 2 seconds slower than my current pace. That should be a piece of piss. And here we go across the line. It's going to be a 1 minute 11.6, which is 3 seconds quicker than the instructed time. I don't know why they make those objectives so unbelievably easy. We now have a 9-second lead over Lance Stroll, and I am truly feeling like Max Verstappen in 2023, winning every single race by 20 to 30 seconds, leading cars by a second a lap. It's a nice feeling. It's a very nice feeling, especially after being away for so long. To come back and dominate in this fashion, it's lovely. It's a lovely feeling, do you know what I mean? Right, tyres are starting to give away really, really bad. Like, every single corner, I'm almost dying. Luckily for me, though, we are stopping this lap. The tyre wear, yeah, it's not looking good for the rears, is it? I mean, they're like 10% more worn than the fronts. Which is a bit mad, because I'm not, like, gassing it. I am saving the rears a little bit, so to be that much of a difference is a little crazy to me, but not really bothered, to be honest. So yeah, we are stopping this lap, gonna put on the hard tyres, and we go from there. Now, Sergio Perez, his strategy, obviously, was to be sort of stick with me, or stick with Stroll, or stick with whoever, and then get an overcut, because obviously he's gonna stay out a few extra laps on the hard tyres. It clearly isn't working. Although I do perfectly understand his strategy. I've used it before, I've executed it well before, and it has worked. But unfortunately for this time around, it ain't going very well. I mean, you look at his gap to the cars behind, I can see at least the 3 cars behind him getting an undercut. So, after the rounds of pit stops, I could see him falling black to like P7. I just said black, I meant back. Can't speak. Anyway, into the pits we must go. E-I-E-I-E-I-O. Let's go. Let's have a clean stop. Come on. Give me a good one. That's gorgeous. That is unbelievably class. Well done, pit crew. I should give you a raise. Now, Lance Stroll is actually staying out an extra lap, as is every single driver on the grid. Right. Okay. Can I stay out? Oh, my. Look at that. Not only do I have clean... Well, I've crashed. Gotta love me some 5th gear oversteer. Anyway... Look at this clean air that I've been put into. What a marvellous strategic play from McLaren. This allows me to not only undercut Perez, but also undercut like every other driver on the grid. Not a single other person stopped on that lap, which is pretty crazy to me. And actually, here is Max Verstappen, my title rival. I was a pit stop ahead of my title rival. I mean, I knew my pace was good, but bloody hell, I didn't think it was that strong. Right, so for the first time in this race, I'm actually going to have DRS. Now, what is interesting is Verstappen... Wait, no. I was going to say it's interesting he stayed out, but of course he's going to stay out. He's on them hard tyres. That isn't particularly great for me, because, well, I'm going to be losing quite a lot of time behind him. But realistically, it is just him and Perez, and I'm, like, miles ahead of everyone else. So, yeah... This shouldn't matter too much. Right, Verstappen, go in. No! Oh, you absolute annoying human. Oh, I stayed out for another lap. I'm just losing more and more time. I mean, like I said, it doesn't matter. I'm far ahead of everyone else, but it's still annoying. Do you know what I mean? To be honest, though, why am I so far ahead? Like, realistically, I was only, like, 8 seconds ahead of Stroll. Now, oh, wait, actually, no. That makes sense. So I've gained 4 seconds with the undercut, but now I'm losing a lot of it because I'm stuck behind Mr. Verstappen and Mr. Tequila Perez. I might have to send one down the inside of Verstappen at this next chicane, but I can't get close enough to him. Look at him. Come back here. Yeah, I'm way too far back. That would be almost suicidal to attempt that. Now, there is another overtaking opportunity at the end of the swimming pool chicane, as I am banging into every single wall because of the dirty air, plus the understeer bug I currently have. I literally can't drive. Once again, I'm just too far back. I'm trying to do this and go around the outside, but it isn't working. And finally, Verstappen veers off into the pits. He gives me DRS, and now it's just a 2.5 second gap to Sergio Tequila Perez. Okay, finally I've got some clean air, and I can drive the car at, you know, full capability, apart from the understeer bug I currently have, and it won't go away. Also, if any of you watching this video, I don't know why you're watching it, it's been a disaster class so far. If you have this bug yourself, where it feels like your car has this chronic understeer, or you have front wing damage, let me know in the comments. I want to see if anyone else has had it. And also, if you for some reason know a fix for it, please do let me know, because it's actually a big issue. Like, imagine getting this while doing a league race, or like a multiplayer race or something. That's like, you know, when there's money involved, or even just like in like tournaments and things like that, that could be a real problem. I mean, luckily for me, I can just flashback, but that could be a serious issue, and it's only been about up until recently. But anyway, Sergio Tequila Perez veers into the pits. I've got 2 purple sectors. Can I make it 3? Not quite 3 purple sectors, but it is the fastest lap of the race. At 1 minute 10.3. And now we're in the lead. And I want to see where Perez comes out. So he drops down to P3. Now I believe Hulkenberg, yeah, he's pitted as well. So Perez down to P4, P5. So Perez actually stays ahead of Lando Norris and comes out in P5, despite pitting a few laps later when Lando would have had the undercut opportunity. And he's actually quite far back as well. Huh, okay, interesting. Well, I'm not sure how I've done that, but I've set the fastest lap of the race with 2 yellow sectors. I'm not entirely sure how that's happened. It's actually like 2 tenths quicker than my best lap. That sector 3 must have been special to achieve something like that. That was an insanely good lap time, especially considering I'm on, like, you know, aging tyres. I suppose it could be the low fuel, but that's promising that there's still some good pace in here that I haven't found. Also, as you can see, I now have a 17-second lead over Lance Stroll, and there is still 7 laps left. I feel like I've been here for hours. And we are into the final 5 laps of this race. My lap times are getting worse by about 3 tenths a lap, which is a crazy fall off. But honestly, I'm just driving a bit stinky, to be honest, at the moment. I'm having a bit of a bad period. I am struggling to just turn the car. It's not going very well, but like I was saying earlier, it's not like I need to push. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm 20 seconds ahead. I'm gaining about 2 seconds a lap, do you know what I mean? I could probably actually drive with 1 arm and 1 leg and I will probably still win. But this is what I was saying earlier that's crazy to me, is that I'm playing on the highest difficulty that the game has to offer. Bear in mind, I have ABS on, which makes me like, what, 2-3 tenths laps slower than I could be? And not only that, but I'm driving bad with, like, and the car feels bad. And yet I'm winning by 20 seconds. I think that doesn't show that I'm actually a good driver, because I know I'm not. There you go, exactly that. But, like, it shows how bad the AI are this year. I don't know, I feel like the AI, they need to be stepped up a bit, you know what I mean? 3 laps remain. I can finally get this absolute disastrous episode over with. It's been an absolute shit show. Nothing's really happened. I've been leading from start to finish. This could actually be... No, it's not. I was going to say this could be my first ever Grand Slam, which is crazy to think of the amount of race wins I have, but it's just not because of the Red Bull's just staying out on the hard tyres. But yeah, this episode has been terrible to watch. I mean, I know it's bad in the recording. I don't know how it's going to be to watch. It's pretty terrible. But I can't really complain, you know, out here. You don't get to win at Monaco by 22 seconds every day, do you? I suppose in terms of the game, yeah, you do. In real life, no. This is, of course, very beneficial for the championship as well, because Verstappen is so far down. I don't even know which position he's in. I believe he is right behind Perez in P6, so I'm going to be scoring 26. Meanwhile, he's only getting, what, 8, I believe? 8 points? Yeah. So, you know, an 18-point gain is nothing to scoff at. That is huge. It is a shame that Lando Norris has fallen off so bad. I mean, you started P5 and he's currently in P7. I don't know how you've managed that at Monaco. It's genuinely a challenge to lose places. But I suppose it isn't the end of the world. He's only going to lose a little amount of points. But realistically, there is a chance that I can win the Constructors by myself, much like Max Verstappen in 2023. But I want Lando Norris alongside me in P2 in the Drivers. But he just can't do it for some reason. I don't know why, but here we go. Final lap of the race, and I have got a full tank of ERS to use. I don't think I'm going to get anywhere near the fastest lap, purely because, well, the car's bad, the tyres are mullered, and I'm driving bad. So it probably ain't going to happen, but we're going to give it a go anyway. Now, it is going to be a yellow Sector 1. Doesn't mean it's over. And I honestly, this episode's been so confusing. We had the understeer bug in qualifying for my first run. I thought I had to lower the difficulty to like 100 just to get by. Then I go and get pole in my next run. It makes no sense. going into the race, this whole episode, my commentary has been nothing short of disgustingly bad, and I can only apologise for that. I don't know why sometimes, I guess it's because I'm just a bit tired today, my commentary is just abysmal. And that's what's funny to me. I'm driving like I've never driven this car before. I'm banging into every single wall. I've used about 90 flashbacks in this video alone. And yet, with crap driving, a crap car, and bugs all over the shop, I've somehow gone to win the Monaco Grand Prix by 25 seconds. Fat Crim Plays has just won by 25 seconds, despite those things I just listed, and that just tops off a very, very puzzling episode. I don't even know what to say to that. I suppose, yes, I won, but that performance isn't deserving of a win, let alone a win in that fashion. That's like a scraping a points finish kind of performance. Like I said, every single wall I clotted into at some point, like 5, 6, 7 times per lap, and yet I somehow come out the other side with a win. So here is your final finishing order. Ayrton Senna, aka me, Fat Crim, converts a P1 in qualifying to a P1 in the race. Fastest lap, by the way, by a very, very far margin. Almost a second beyond anyone else in this race. And like I said, I'm on 110 difficulty. There's not a lot I can do, really, to make that less of a dominant win. I suppose something must have just clicked. I'm not too sure. But Lance Stroll, that's a good performance by him. P2, imagine saying that. Imagine it comes up in the news after the Monaco Grand Prix and it said Lance Stroll finishes second. You'd be like, well, no. Sainz third, Leclerc fourth. Perez, bit of a fall off, but the strategy wasn't great. Verstappen, that's good for the championship. Lando Norris, though, how do you lose 3 places at Monaco? I've got to imagine there was some undercut or overcut going on, but that's crazy to me. Anyway, let's look at the championship standings. In the drivers, I now lead by 29 after 4 rounds. That's class, to be honest. And in the constructors, we lead as a team by 22 points, even though, oh, that should be fair, Lando 29 points. I mean, to be honest, he's 67 points behind me after 4 races. That's really bad. He is still only 15 points away from P3 in the standings, so it's all to play for still. But I suppose we'll have to find out how he gets on in the next episode. So that's going to be all from me. Like I said, I apologise. This was such a stinker. I hope that my next episode, which should be my team career mode, is a lot better. But right now, I need to go defecate. And I will be back very, very soon. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.